Welcome, beloved listener, to a space where the edges of the day soften and thoughts begin to drift, like embers in a cooling hearth, settling into a gentle warmth that soothes the weary spirit, coaxing the mind towards tranquility, inviting a release from the day's clamor, drawing you into a deeper calm, a profound stillness. Tonight, we journey to a windswept island, a place woven from mist and ancient rock, where the very air hums with untold stories, woven into the fabric of the desolate landscape. Each gust of wind carrying echoes of lives lived and desires whispered. A symphony of forgotten histories, a silent chorus spanning centuries. Here, the ancient stones hold secrets whispered by the relentless sea and the wild wind, murmuring tales of resilience and solitude, of battles fought and dreams deferred, of love lost and found, and the wild sea whispers of timeless longing, a vast, echoing lament against the shore, a primal symphony of yearning, a song of eternal return and endless sorrow. Silence on this island speaks volumes, carrying more weight than any uttered word, conveying depths that language often fails to capture, articulating the profound and the ineffable with a mere pause, a held breath, a silent understanding that transcends mere vocalization, a communion of spirits. And beauty unfolds slowly, deliberately, like the petals of a night-blooming flower unfurling under a patient moon, revealing its fragile heart to the silent heavens. A quiet, profound unveiling, a testament to nature's gentle artistry, a delicate wonder in the vastness. Wherever you are in this wide world, whether nestled in a grand bedchamber with velvet drapes and flickering candlelight, the shadows dancing softly on the walls, creating ephemeral patterns, or a simple, quiet room bathed in moonlight, the only. Sound the soft brush of leaves outside your window, a gentle rhythm of nature, a soothing whisper of the night. I hope this quiet tale finds you comfortable, perhaps nestled in your softest blankets, the weight of them a gentle embrace, a cocoon of calm, ready to surrender to the gentle pull of sleep, to let the narrative carry you away on its soft currents, drifting into peaceful slumber, unburdened by thought or worldly concerns, cradled by the story. If these whispered stories bring a touch of peace to your evening, a quiet comfort to your mind, a balm to weary thoughts, a gentle lull to the anxieties of the day, a whisper of serenity that eases the tension of existence, please consider subscribing. It allows more weary souls to find their way to this tranquil haven, this sanctuary of calm in a restless world, where the imagination can roam free, unburdened and at peace, finding solace in shared whispers and collective tranquility, a community of dreamers. Now, close your eyes, let your breath deepen, sinking into the quiet rhythm of your own being, feeling the steady beat of your heart, a constant, reassuring presence, a gentle drum against the stillness, a life force gently pulsing, and feel the gentle sway of the sea, its timeless lullaby, a distant, comforting murmur, begin to cradle you, drawing you deeper into the quiet embrace of memory, into the profound stillness that precedes true rest, dissolving into the narrative. You are Mary Ann, and a memory, vivid and profound, begins to paint itself upon the canvas of your mind, a tableau of indelible impressions, rendered in hues of longing and quiet beauty, a silent, unfolding masterpiece of recollection, a dream, emerging from the depths of your subconscious, beckoning you into its embrace. The rhythmic hush of waves against a wooden hull, a constant, primal pulse that reverberates through the very bones of the vessel, speaking of resilience born of relentless battering. This deep, resonant sigh from the very heart of the ships. Ancient timbers, each grown a testament to countless journeys endured, of forgotten cargo and brave voyages across unforgiving seas, a history written in salt and wood, etched into the grain of every plank, a living chronicle of endurance and silent sacrifice. The insistent creak of timber underfoot, a constant, unsettling protest against the turbulent waters, a high-pitched whine mixed with deeper groans, as if the ship itself were expressing its weary soul, its endless struggle, rocking you gently, yet persistently, a cradle on a tempestuous breast, threatening to cast you from its unsteady embrace into the vast, unknowable depths where light never reaches. Above, the distant, mournful call of gulls, their cries swallowed by the vastness of the sky, carried away on currents of wind, becoming faint echoes against the endless expanse, mere whispers against infinity, leaving only a hollow ache in things. Vast emptiness that seems to stretch to infinity, boundless and indifferent. An almost palpable loneliness that mirrors your own solitude, your isolated journey, your profound sense of being adrift in a world of overwhelming scale. This is where your memory begins, a vivid, almost tactile echo in the quiet chambers of your mind. A memory composed not just of fleeting sights and fleeting sounds, but of raw, primal sensations that penetrate deep into your being, awakening. Every nerve, every dormant sense. A potent scent of brine and damp wood, mingling with the sharp tongue of freshly tarred ropes glistening with moisture, and cold, clean air, sharp and invigorating, filling your lungs with its biting purity, chilling you to the bone. A visceral impression that will never truly fade, clinging to you like the salt on your skin, a phantom sensation that returns with every breath, every intake of memory, every whispered recollection, a constant, nagging reminder of the ordeal. You are on a small boat, a mere speck against the vast, indifferent expanse of the churning ocean, a fragile vessel at the mercy of immense forces, battling the capricious swells of the sea that lift and drop you with dizzying force, a relentless, dizzying dance that tests every muscle, every nerve, every fiber of your being, threatening to dislodge your very soul from its moorings, to strip away your composure, leaving you vulnerable and exposed to the raw, untamed power of the elements. The salt spray, sharp and invigorating, is a cold kiss on your face, stinging your eyes and lips, a constant reminder of the wild, untamed elements that surround you, of the raw power of nature, unyielding and magnificent, beautiful in its ferocity, yet utterly merciless, striking without warning, a brutal, beautiful force that demands respect. But you blink it away, determined to maintain your focus, to keep your gaze fixed on the indistinct horizon, a blurred line between sea and sky that offers no clear direction, no guiding star, no promise of land, a vast, indifferent blankness that stretches endlessly, or perhaps more desperately, on the precious canvas you so fiercely protect, swaddled tightly against the damp, its fragile existence mirroring your own precarious journey, its vulnerability a silent plea for survival, for preservation, for the completion of your purpose, your artistic mission, your very reason for existence. Your hands grip the rough, weathered wooden rail, knuckles white and aching from the effort, veins prominent against pale skin, a testament to your desperate hold, as a sudden, brutal gust of wind tears across the water, a shrieking gale, a tempest, born of nowhere, a sudden, violent assault that seems to come from the very depths of the ocean, a leviathan of air, howling its fury, threatening to capsize your precarious vessel, to overturn your very existence, to plunge you into the unforgiving depths below, to swallow you whole, leaving no trace, no memory of your passage, a complete obliteration, a final chilling end. You clutch your precious, carefully wrapped canvas tighter, feeling the tautness of the fabric beneath your fingers, the fragile promise it holds, the untold beauty it might yet contain, the dreams it embodies, the future it represents. A silent, desperate prayer escaping your lips, a plea to the turbulent waters, to the unfeeling sky, to whatever unseen force governs the chaos of the deep, to spare your work, your passion, your very purpose, the essence of your being, your reason for enduring this terrifying journey, this battle against annihilation. The storm rages around you, a wild, untamed thing of wind and water, roaring its defiance, a primal symphony of chaos and raw power, an orchestra of destruction, deafening in its fury, drowning out all other thoughts, all other fears, leaving only the relentless sound of the tempest, a terrifying, all-consuming roar that fills your universe, threatening to shatter your very sanity, to tear you apart. And then, a larger wave, monstrous and unforgiving, its crest a frothing white, impossibly high, a liquid mountain rising above you, threatening to engulf you entirely, to crush your small craft, to end your journey abruptly and without mercy. A colossal, indifferent force lifts the boat with a sickening lurch, a stomach-dropping sensation that steals your breath, tossing it violently, uncontrollably, like a child's forgotten toy abandoned to the whims of a giant, helpless and small. Against such might, utterly powerless, utterly at the mercy of the elements, a toy in the hands of fate, you lose your grip, a sharp gasp stolen from your lungs, the air knocked from your chest in a painful rush, a silent cry of despair, a profound sense of loss, and watch in horror, a slow-motion nightmare unfolding before your eyes. As your meticulously prepared paintings, your life's work, your very artistic soul, the embodiment of countless hours of labor and vision, of dreams and aspirations, of sacrifices made for art, tumble into the churning, dark water, swallowed instantly by the foam and the raging currents, disappearing without a trace, lost to the depths, seemingly forever, a crushing, agonizing loss that sears itself into your memory, a wound to your very core, a blow to your identity, a spiritual desolation that feels almost unbearable. Without a moment's hesitation, a primal instinct overriding the biting cold and mounting fear, a surge of adrenaline pushing you forward, demanding immediate action, a desperate, unthinking leap. You plunge into the icy depths, the shock of the frigid water stealing your breath, stealing your very consciousness for a fleeting second, a cold, suffocating embrace, desperate to reclaim your work before it is lost forever, before the merciless sea claims it entirely, irrevocably, transforming your creations into nameless flotsam, dissolving your efforts into nothingness, leaving no trace behind but a memory of beauty lost, a memory that would forever haunt you, a phantom limb of your artistic spirit, a constant, dull ache. The canvases bob, teasingly close yet agonizingly distant, cruel, unreachable promises, just beyond your frantic grasp, their white surfaces mocking your efforts, reflecting the gray sky, a blankness that echoes your despair, a void to be filled, a task unfulfilled, a silent challenge that screams failure. As you fight against the powerful current, your limbs heavy, sluggish, encumbered by wet clothes that drag you down, binding your movements, each stroke a monumental effort against the insistent pull, your lungs burning, demanding air, demanding warmth, demanding a return to life, a desperate gasp for existence, for breath, for another chance, another opportunity to create, to fulfill your destiny, to reclaim your purpose, your very reason for living. You retrieve them, one by one, feeling the rough texture of the wood against your chilled fingers, the cold seeping deeper into your bones, a chilling ache that permeates your entire being, gasping for air between each frantic dive, each desperate reach, each desperate prayer for strength, for the endurance to reclaim what is yours, what is part of you, what defines you, your very identity, your purpose, your reason for living, for existing as an artist in this world. Finally, back on board, shivering violently, teeth chattering uncontrollably, a tremor that shakes your entire frame, soaked through to the bone, your clothes clinging to you, heavy and cold. You pull your sodden creations close, cradling them against your chest, the damp fabric cold against your skin, a quiet triumph, almost a physical pain in its intensity, in your utter exhaustion. A battle won against the elements, a hard one. Victory that feels less like joy and more like profound relief. A momentary reprieve from the relentless struggle, a brief respite before the next challenge, the next unknown, the next step on this desolate journey into a new, uncertain chapter. The boat steadies the storm, as if satisfied with its display of power, begins its slow, grumbling retreat, its fury receding into a distant murmur, a lingering threat, a promise of future squalls, a reminder of its raw might, of your smallness against its grandeur. And the shoreline of a remote, craggy island emerges from the mist, a distant, unwelcoming silhouette, promising little solace, only more unknowns, a stark, barren landscape that feels as unyielding as the sea itself. A new challenge awaiting. A new isolation that looms before you, cold and formidable. A silent, imposing presence. A landscape that mirrors your inner turmoil, your profound sense of being adrift in an unfamiliar world, far from home. You step onto the rocky beach, the rough, uneven pebbles shifting precariously under your wet boots, each stone a small complaint underfoot, each step uncertain on the unstable, slippery ground, a constant reminder of the island's untamed nature, its raw, untamed beauty that holds a subtle menace, a hint of danger in its desolate charm, a wildness that permeates every fiber of its being, a landscape sculpted by the untamed forces of nature. The air is thick with the potent scent of brine and damp seaweed, a raw, untamed fragrance that fills your lungs, mingling with the lingering scent of storm, of wildness, of raw nature, an elemental perfume that is both invigorating and daunting, hinting at an untamed existence, a life untethered, a life of elemental purity, a profound simplicity. The wind, a constant, mournful companion on this desolate shore, a relentless, invisible force, whips your hair around your face, lashing it against your cheeks, stinging them with cold, stealing your breath away with its relentless force, trying to pull you back towards the tumultuous sea, as if it would reclaim you, draw you back into its depths, into oblivion, into the swirling chaos from which you just emerged. A silent siren call. A heavy, two-wheeled cart awaits, its wooden wheels already half submerged in the yielding sand, pulled by a sturdy, indifferent horse, its breath steaming in the chill, a silent witness to your arrival, its eyes placid, unreadable, offering no comfort, no welcoming sign, merely a means to an end, a stoic acceptance of its fate, of the grim reality of this place, an unthinking instrument of transport. You clamber aboard, your chilled fingers fumbling with the damp clasp of your cloak, struggling to secure it against the insistent breeze, to wrap yourself against the pervasive cold that seems to cling to this place, to insulate yourself from its bleakness, from the island's stark embrace, from its unwelcoming spirit, a land of harsh beauty and unforgiving silence, a land that promises little warmth, little comfort, little joy. The journey inland is slow, a tedious crawl along a narrow, uneven path, winding past ancient, gnarled trees that stand sentinel against the relentless wind, their branches twisted into grotesque, supplicating shapes, like old women bowing in prayer, their silent endurance a testament to time, to the unyielding forces of nature, to survival against all odds. A landscape sculpted by constant struggle, by the relentless elements, each tree a monument to perseverance, to quiet strength, to the stubbornness of life. The cart finally halts before a large, stern stone house, its gray walls blending seamlessly into the bleak landscape, almost indistinguishable from the rock, a part of the very earth itself, its windows dark and uninviting, like vacant eyes, staring out at the gray landscape, revealing nothing, holding secrets within its silent depths, a place of hidden lives and untold sorrows, of buried histories, of quiet despair, a bastion of forgotten dreams, a mausoleum of silenced aspirations, a place where echoes linger. This is your destination, a place where the sun seems hesitant to linger, where warmth feels like a foreign concept, a memory from a different life, a distant shore, a lost comfort, a forgotten luxury, a place devoid of easy joy, imbued with an air of melancholy that seems to cling to every stone, to every shadow, to every silent corner, a pervasive sadness. You are here to paint a wedding portrait, a solemn, significant task given to you by a stern countess, whose formidable reputation precedes her, a woman known for her unyielding will and unwavering expectations, her word absolute, her influence immense, her presence commanding, casting a long shadow, a shadow of rigid control, of inescapable duty. Her daughter, Heloise, you are informed, refuses to pose an act of silent, unwavering rebellion that has frustrated previous less patient artists, forcing them to abandon their commissions, to admit defeat, to leave the island in failure, their efforts thwarted by a will stronger than their own, a spirit that refuses to bend, refuses to be captured, refuses to be owned, a silent, defiant challenge that reverberates through the very air, a whisper of fierce independence. You are instructed to be her companion, to walk with her, to observe her in secret, to capture her likeness without her knowledge or consent. A clandestine mission, a deception that feels increasingly heavy on your conscience, a growing weight. In your chest, a burden to your artistic soul that chafes against your ethics, against the very honesty of your craft, against your deepest principles, against the truth of your own artistic vision. The deception sits uncomfortably within you, a small, persistent ache in your conscience, a growing unease that whispers of betrayal, a faint stain on your artistic integrity that feels heavier with each passing moment, each stolen glance, each clandestine observation, each breath you take under false pretenses, a moral compromise you are forced to make, a shadow over your purpose, a constant reminder of your complicity, a gnawing discomfort that diminishes your spirit, a betrayal of trust. This secret burden already feels like a weight you carry, a silent shadow to your every step, a constant companion to your thoughts, a dark thread woven into the fabric of your days, an unwelcome, pervasive presence that colors your perceptions, dimming the light of your artistic vision, stifling your creative freedom, binding you in silent guilt. The heavy, unyielding door, scarred by time and weather, its wood bleached by sun and salt, groans open with a long, drawn-out sound, a deep, resonant complaint that echoes the house's age, a mournful welcome, a sound that seems to sigh with. Centuries of quiet lives lived within these walls, lives of duty and silent suffering, of hidden passions and lost dreams, of forgotten echoes revealing the Countess, a woman of formidable presence, her posture ramrod straight, unbending, like a figure carved from granite, her gaze sharp and unwavering, missing nothing, observing everything with an almost unnerving intensity, piercing your very thoughts, dissecting your intentions, assessing your worth, your suitability for this task, for this silent battle, for this delicate negotiation of wills. Her face, a study in quiet authority, is etched with fine lines of worry and expectation, a silent history of burdens carried, of responsibilities shouldered alone, of a life lived under immense pressure, a weight of duty that has molded her, very being, shaping her into a formidable matriarch, hardened by circumstance, by the demands of her station, by a lifetime of strictures. She greets you, her words clipped and precise, each syllable carefully weighed, devoid of unnecessary warmth, betraying nothing of her inner thoughts, a cold formality that chills you more than the sea wind, that sets a rigid tone for your stay, establishing a clear hierarchy, leading you through dimly lit corridors that smell of old stone and sea air, a faint, musty aroma clinging to the pervasive silence, mingling with the scent of damp and antiquity, of lives lived and hushed away, of forgotten moments lingering in the air, a sense of history pressing down with palpable weight, a history of constraint and quiet despair. The very air feels heavy with unspoken rules and hushed lives, a sense of confinement, of lives lived in quiet adherence to strictures, to unseen boundaries, to ancient customs, a rigid, unyielding order that governs every aspect of existence. Within these walls, stifling creativity and passion, suppressing all spontaneous joy, all vibrant life. You are shown to your room, a spare, cold space with rough stone walls and a floor that chills your bare feet even through your shoes. Stark and uninviting, furnished with only the essentials. A narrow bed with a thin mattress, a simple wooden table, a single hard chair, each object seeming to emphasize the loneliness, the austerity of your surroundings, the lack of comfort, the transient nature of your visit, a temporary, unwelcoming abode, a place for quiet despair. A small, unadorned window, thick with dust and obscured by grime, offers only a partial view, a muted rectangle of gray, looking out onto the gray, churning sea, its endless, restless motion, a constant reminder of isolation, of the vastness outside. These walls, of the distance from your own familiar life, from the warmth of Paris, from everything you know, from comfort and familiarity, from all that feels safe and known, from your artistic community, from true freedom, from the vibrant pulse of life. The silence here is profound, a heavy blanket that presses in on you, muffling all sound, amplifying your own heartbeat, making it pound in your ears, a deafening drum against your skull, broken only by the mournful cry of distant gulls, carried on the wind, a lonely lament that seems to articulate the very essence of this desolate place, its inherent sadness, its pervasive melancholy, a silent song of despair that echoes your own nascent unease, your growing foreboding, a premonition of difficulty and sorrow. You unpacked your paints, your brushes, your palette knives, your very tools of observation, the instruments of your craft, laying them out with a quiet reverence, a meticulous order that brings a small comfort, a familiar ritual in an unfamiliar world, a grounding act amidst the unsettling newness, a connection to your purpose, a reminder of your artistic identity, your reason for being here, a fragile anchor in a sea of uncertainty, a last bastion of self. Each object feels weighted with the gravity of the task ahead, a silent demand for success, for a mastery you are not yet sure you possess, a daunting challenge that looms large in this solitary room, casting a long shadow, filling the space. With its unspoken demands, its immense pressure, a burden that feels almost insurmountable, threatening to crush your spirit before you begin, before a single stroke is laid, before the true work can commence, before you face your subject, before you confront your ethical dilemma, your profound artistic and moral conflict. The next morning, the chill of the house seeps deeper into your bones, a pervasive, insidious cold that no amount of clothing seems to alleviate, making you shiver despite your efforts to maintain composure, to project an air of professionalism, a facade of calm, and control against the encroaching discomfort, against the profound unease that gnaws at you, a silent torment. You are called to breakfast, a silent, formal affair held in a large, drafty dining room, where the weak morning light struggles to penetrate the heavy atmosphere, filtered by thick, ancient curtains that seem to absorb all brightness, leaving the room in perpetual twilight, a subdued, almost somber mood that matches the house's character, its quiet despair, its lingering sorrow, its oppressive solemnity, its deep-seated melancholy. The heavy silverware clinks softly against the porcelain plates, each sound amplified in the quiet, unnervingly loud, a tiny percussion against the silence, an intrusion in the hushed routine, a jarring note in the stillness, the only interruption, apart from the distant, rhythmic murmur of the sea. a constant backdrop to this hushed existence, a reminder of the island's isolation, its endless drone, its vast indifference, its eternal song of longing, of separation, of profound solitude. The Countess sits at the head of the table, her gaze sharp and assessing, missing nothing, taking in your every movement, your every expression, searching for any sign of weakness or doubt, any crack in your facade, any hint of rebellion or failure. In your bearing, any flaw in your resolve, any sign that you might falter, that you might not fulfill your obligation, that you might not succeed in this crucial mission. Heloise, however, is conspicuously absent. Her empty chair a silent, eloquent statement of her continued resistance, a void at the table that speaks volumes, a defiant space that challenges the Countess's authority, a refusal to participate. In this forced reality, this carefully constructed tableau of domestic order, of polite society, a silent act of protest that vibrates with suppressed emotion, with quiet fury. You learn, through clipped remarks from the Countess to the silently serving maids, and knowing glances exchanged between the Countess and her assistants, that Heloise has only recently returned from a convent, a place of silent discipline, strict adherence to rules, and a spiritual withdrawal from the worldly, a life starkly different from the one planned for her, a life of quiet contemplation instead of social obligation, of silent devotion instead of a public role, a life chosen, not imposed, a life of profound inner strength, a profound conviction, a life of self-determination, a life of unwavering principle. It is clear that her resistance to this arranged marriage is a deep, unyielding thing, rooted in a quiet despair, a profound defiance born of immense personal cost, a refusal to be merely a pawn in a social game, a transaction, a piece of property, to be traded, a life to be bartered, to be sold, to be sacrificed for family name, for reputation, for stability, for convenience. You are told of her previous attempts to delay the union, of her quiet acts of defiance, each one a testament to her strength of will, her refusal to be molded, to be broken, to be forced into a fate she did not choose, a future not her own, a life not lived on her terms, a profound act of self-preservation, of inner liberty, of desperate hope, clinging to the last vestiges of her autonomy, of her individual sovereignty. The Countess watches you, her eyes holding a silent, desperate plea for your success, for the completion of this portrait that holds her family's future, her only remaining daughter's destiny, her hope for survival in a harsh society, a fragile thread of hope that she places in your hands, in your artistic capability, in your ability to capture the uncapturable, to force a truth that does not exist, to create a believable illusion, to make her daughter appear willing and content. The unspoken weight of her expectation adds to the burden you already carry, a silent pressure to conform, to deliver, to solve her intractable problem, to paint away her worries, to provide a solution where there seems to be none, to capture a willing bride where none exists, to conjure compliance from defiance, to make the impossible real, to create a palatable fiction, to legitimize a forced union through art, through your brush. Later, the Countess, with a dismissive wave of her hand, almost an order that brooks no argument, her voice firm and unyielding, carrying absolute authority, as if her will alone could command the very air and bend reality to her desires. Her words echoing like pronouncements that brook no questioning, instructs you to accompany Heloise on her daily walk along the treacherous windswept cliffs. This is your first true opportunity, your mandated deception, a chance to observe her unseen, to begin the silent theft of her image, to capture her essence without her knowledge, without her consent, a clandestine artistic mission that feels increasingly unethical, increasingly burdensome, a weight on your artistic soul that chafes against your principles, against every tenet of honest artistry, against your very sense of self, against your inner truth, against the very spirit of. Creation. You step outside, the wind immediately biting at your face, stealing the warmth from your cheeks, causing your eyes to water, making your breath catch in your throat. A sharp reminder of the unforgiving elements that dominate this island. A prelude to the challenge ahead, both physical and moral. A gust of cold, hard truth that cuts through all pretense, all illusion. You see her ahead, a solitary figure silhouetted against the vast, gray expanse of the sea and sky, her back to you, her posture rigid, unyielding, a defiant vertical line against the horizontal sweep of the ocean, a symbol of unwavering will, of unbreakable resolve, of a spirit that refuses to bend to external forces, to societal pressure, to any command not her own, a silent monument to resistance, standing firm against the elements and expectation, a beacon of defiant individuality. Her stillness, even from this distance, speaks of an unyielding spirit, a contained energy, a deep reserve, a quiet power, a formidable presence that draws you in, compels your artistic eye, challenges your perception, beckons you to understand, to witness her strength, to unlock her secret. You feel a strange tremor of anticipation, a nervous flutter in your chest, a complex mixture of artistic eagerness, a craving for the muse, for the challenge of capturing such a spirit, such defiance and profound ethical discomfort, is silent. Battle raging within your conscience, pulling you in two directions, a conflict of duty and morality, of art and truth, of purpose and betrayal, a profound internal struggle that consumes your thoughts. Your artistic eye hungers for the lines and shadows, the unique contours of her form, the way the light falls upon her, seeing her already on your canvas, envisioning the strokes, already composing the portrait in your mind, a silent act of creation. Even as your conscience recoils from the clandestine nature of the task, the inherent dishonesty of your purpose, the quiet betrayal of trust yet to be given, a deep-seated revulsion that grows with every step, every beat of your heart, every whispered thought, every passing moment. You follow, your steps echoing faintly on the rocky path, each crunch of gravel under your boots a small betrayal, a sound only you are privy to, a secret shared with the indifferent stones, with the howling wind that seems to mock your silent task, whispering warnings, reminding you of your deceit, of the hidden agenda, of the silent burden you carry, of the truth you must suppress, of the lie you are perpetrating. The air is alive with the ceaseless roar of the ocean, a deep, resonant sound that vibrates through your very bones, a primal hum, and the endless sigh of the wind, whispering secrets only the cliffs understand, secrets of time and erosion and solitary lives, of endurance and despair, of ancient, forgotten stories echoing through the ages, tales of struggle and survival, of lives lived and lost to the sea, a profound, timeless symphony of existence, a melancholic backdrop to your clandestine mission, a silent, powerful presence. You walk beside her, the relentless wind whipping at your cloaks, tugging at the fabric, threatening to snatch them from your shoulders, its icy breath chilling you to the bone, making your fingers ache, making your body tense, a constant battle. Against the elements, a physical manifestation of your internal struggle, of your uneasy conscience, of the conflict within, mirroring the storm outside, the turmoil within your soul, the tempest of your own thoughts. The constant, powerful roar of the waves, crashing against the jagged rocks below, is a constant presence, a wild symphony that underscores your silence, a counterpoint to your unspoken thoughts, a backdrop to your internal debate, to your conflicted emotions, a relentless reminder of the world's indifference, of its grand, crushing power, of human insignificance, of the ephemeral nature of life, of your own fleeting existence, a humble, small figure against the vastness. Her hair, a striking, vibrant russet against the muted gray of the sky, billows wildly around her face, escaping its pins, a fiery halo in the desolate landscape, a splash of warm color against the cool tones of the earth and sea, a beacon against the gloom, a captivating contrast that draws your eye, a painter's dream, a living, moving masterpiece, constantly shifting in the wind, alive with unseen energy. She walks with a fierce determination, her stride even and purposeful, her head held high, her gaze fixed on the distant horizon, as if searching for something beyond the visible, a freedom that lies just out of reach, a truth she holds close, a secret desire that drives her, a longing for escape, for a different life, a life of her own choosing, unburdened by the chains of expectation, unmarred by compromise, unconfined by societal dictates. You observe her, a meticulous study in quiet defiance, in contained emotion, in graceful sorrow, each detail absorbing your artistic eye, each nuance a revelation, each subtle movement a clue to her inner world, a silent language you are learning. To read, to decipher, to understand with growing fascination, with profound empathy, with a growing sense of connection. Her profile, sharp and elegant, with a delicate curve to her nose and a firm set to her jaw, shifts with each turn of her head, each subtle movement revealing a new angle, a new facet of her beauty, a new line for your charcoal, a new stroke for your brush, constantly redefining her form in your mind, capturing her fleeting expressions, her elusive spirit, her unspoken narrative, the silent poetry of her being. Her eyes, when you catch a fleeting glimpse of them, in the moments she turns to navigate the uneven path, are a startling shade of green, like moss on ancient stone, deep and unfathomable, holding untold stories, vast as the sea itself, reflecting its turbulent depths, its hidden currents, its profound mysteries, an ocean of emotion waiting to be explored, a silent invitation to a deeper understanding, to a shared vulnerability. You find yourself captivated by the subtle movements of her hands as she clutches her cloak against the wind, her fingers tightly interwoven, a gesture of self-preservation, of inner turmoil, a silent prayer against the elements, the way her lips pressed together in quiet contemplation, a hint of something unsaid, a world of thought unvoiced, a private universe hidden behind a serene facade, a wall you long to penetrate, to dismantle, to reveal, to truly know, to truly connect, to truly understand her profound spirit. You watch the way the pale sunlight, even on this overcast day, struggles to penetrate the clouds, but manages to catch her hair, transforming it into a burnished halo, a fleeting moment of warmth against the cold, a glimmer of light in the gray, a fleeting hope that seems almost out of place, a momentary grace that speaks of resilience, of inner strength, of an indomitable spirit, a beacon in the desolation, a promise of hidden beauty. You try to absorb every minute detail, every fleeting expression, every nuanced gesture, committing them to memory with an almost painful intensity, a silent, desperate inventory for your hidden task, for the portrait that must emerge from these stolen moments, from these fragments of observation, a silent reconstruction of a hidden soul, a quiet act of artistic devotion that feels increasingly personal, increasingly urgent, increasingly consuming, blurring the lines of your professional duty, of your very identity. You ask her simple questions, polite inquiries about the island's unique flora, about her experiences in the continent, about the ever-changing weather, the mundane serving as a veil for your true purpose, a distraction from your clandestine artistic endeavor, a necessary disguise, a thin facade, but her answers are brief, almost monosyllabic, revealing little of her inner world, her true self guarded, a fortress of silence that you long to breach, to dismantle, to understand, to reveal, to set free, to reach the hidden depths of her being, to find the truth within. She maintains a quiet distance, a protective veil woven from silence and reserve, a barrier you feel compelled to gently breach, drawn by an irresistible curiosity, by a desire to know her fully, truly, intimately, beyond the confines of your commission, beyond the pretense, beyond the deception, beyond the artifice of your roles, yearning for genuine connection, for a shared truth. You sense a deep, unresolved sorrow within her, a quiet ache that seems to permeate her very being, a shadow clinging to her remarkable presence, lending her an almost ethereal quality, a poignant beauty that resonates with your own artistic sensibilities, with your own understanding of human suffering, of unspoken grief, of profound loss that you instinctively feel, a silent empathy, a shared melancholy, a bond of sorrow. The unspoken tension between you is palpable, a delicate tightrope walk of observation and guardedness, of probing curiosity and resolute privacy. Each step a negotiation, a silent struggle between artist and subject, between captor and captive, a growing, complex dynamic that shifts with every shared breath, every silent moment, every lingering glance, drawing you closer despite yourselves, despite the inherent deceit, despite the impossible circumstances. Each shared breath of salty air feels weighted with the unspoken task, the clandestine purpose of your presence, and the growing, unsettling realization that you are not merely painting a face, but attempting to glimpse a soul, a hidden world. Beneath the surface, a truth that might be both beautiful and painful, a truth that might change everything, irrevocably altering your own perception of art and life and your place within it, challenging your very foundation, your very identity, your moral compass, forever changing the course of your life. Back in your makeshift studio, nestled in the cold stone house, the canvas stands waiting, a blank, intimidating presence, accusing in its emptiness, a silent challenge to your abilities, to your very integrity, to your moral compass, its whiteness, mocking your efforts, a symbol of the immense task before you, an embodiment of your dilemma, a mirror of your conflicted soul, reflecting your internal struggle. You pick up a charcoal stick, its dry feel familiar in your fingers, a comforting weight, your fingers hesitating for a moment, tracing the air before touching the pristine surface, a moment of deep contemplation, of internal debate, of silent prayer, a moment of profound artistic and ethical wrestling, a battle for truth and authenticity in your work, a silent plea for guidance. The outline of her face begins to emerge, tentative lines taking shape on the white surface, conjuring her from memory, a faint shadow of her form, a ghost of her presence, a nascent image struggling to be born, to take shape under your hand, to be made real, to breathe on the canvas, to come alive with her spirit, with her essence. You work quickly, driven by the fleeting nature of your observations, a desperate need to capture her before the details fade, before the memory becomes indistinct, before she becomes merely an outline in your mind, a forgotten sketch, trying to grasp the essence of her, the way her head tilts just so, the elegant, almost swan-like curve of her neck, the subtle tension in her jaw. It speaks of hidden emotion, of unspoken words, of a contained fire, of a suppressed passion that yearns for release, for expression, for acknowledgement. You recall the precise, almost luminous shade of her hair, remembering the way the wind lifted it, twirling it, catching the light, the subtle shift in her expression when a particularly strong gust of wind ruffled her cloak during your walks. A fleeting hint of a grimace, a momentary break in her composure, a glimpse of vulnerability, a silent plea for understanding, a moment of unguarded truth, now etched into your mind, a vital detail, a profound insight. Each stroke is a memory made manifest, a careful, almost feverish reconstruction of stolen glances and silent observations, a painstaking recreation of moments, trying to build a whole from fragments, to synthesize a soul from fleeting glimpses, a stolen truth that now feels heavy, burdensome, morally fraught, a source of constant unease, a silent reproach, a shadow over your masterpiece, a stain on your artistic conscience. You focus on the delicate structure of her face, the quiet intensity that emanates from her, even though you have not yet seen her eyes truly open to you, truly engaged with your own gaze, revealing their full depth, their hidden emotions, their inner fire, their true essence, their vibrant life force that you so desperately seek to capture, to unlock, to bring to light, to immortalize. The deception weighs on you, a growing discomfort that settles in your chest like a stone, a gnawing sense of unease, a constant whisper of deceit, a silent accusation that haunts your thoughts, clouding your artistic vision, diminishing your own spirit, draining your joy from the act of creation, making it feel hollow, tainted, a betrayal of your own soul. You feel like a thief, stealing glimpses of her soul, appropriating her image without consent, creating a likeness that is built on artifice, on a foundation of lies, a portrait born of stealth, of secrecy, a stolen truth that feels increasingly false, increasingly wrong, increasingly a violation, a deep ethical wound, a betrayal of your own principles, of your artistic integrity, of your very humanity. This portrait, you realize with a sinking heart, feels less like an act of pure creation and more like an act of capture, a beautiful cage for a spirit you barely know, a betrayal of trust yet to be given, a preemptive wound, a silent violation. That taints the beauty you strive for, corrupting its very purpose, its inherent value, transforming art into an instrument of coercion, a tool of oppression, a gilded prison for a free spirit. The beauty you are creating is tainted by the means of its creation, a bitter irony that mocks your artistic ambition, turning your passion into a source of quiet torment, a moral dilemma with every stroke, with every careful line, a constant reminder of your complicity, of the moral compromise you have made, of the silent burden you carry. Days blur into a relentless rhythm of walks and secret studies, a monotonous yet strangely compelling routine, punctuated by the subtle clicks of your charcoal, the quiet rustle of paper as you sketch, the whisper of your own breath, each sound a testament to the passage of time, a constant, gentle drumbeat against the silence of the house, against the wildness of the island, a quiet cadence of your days, marking the quiet, creeping intimacy that grows between you. Each morning, you accompany her on her solitary strolls along the precipitous, windswept cliffs, the conversation sparse, punctuated by the vastness of the sea and the endless roar of the wind, which seems to carry away all words, leaving only the profound silence between you, a silence that becomes increasingly comfortable, increasingly meaningful, filled with unspoken communication, with silent understandings, with a growing bond that strengthens with each passing moment, each shared breath of wild air, each silent communion. You notice how she constantly watches the horizon, her gaze distant, fixed, almost yearning, a deep, almost desperate longing in her eyes that you try, in vain, to decipher, to understand the depths of her quiet despair, the unspoken stories held within her, the dreams she hides, the hope she clings to, a silent narrative unfolding before you, compelling your observation, drawing you deeper into her world, into her very soul, into the labyrinth of her thoughts, her deepest desires. You observe her hands as she nervously plucks at the fabric of her cloak, a subtle, repeated gesture betraying an inner turmoil, a hidden anxiety, a restlessness beneath her calm exterior, a silent tell that speaks volumes about her inner state, her contained emotions, her yearning for freedom, for escape, for release from her impending fate. You sketch her from behind, her proud silhouette, a poignant study against the dramatic sky, the lines of her figure etched by the wind, her isolation palpable, a profound loneliness that resonates with your own, a shared sense of solitude, of individual journeys, yet now a shared space, a bond of understanding that grows stronger by the day, a silent acknowledgement of kinship, of mutual recognition. You memorize the faint lines around her eyes, the gentle curve of her nose, the way her lips might soften or tighten, the subtle movements that reveal more than words ever could, silent confessions of her thoughts, of her feelings, of her hidden passions, of the complexities of her soul, her very essence, her authentic self, her true being. You commit to memory the precise way her dark cloak billows in the wind, like a dark, protective wing, shielding her from an unseen threat, from the world's expectations, from the gaze of others, a constant, elegant shield against intrusion, against exposure, a silent defiance, an act of self-preservation. It speaks volumes of her quiet strength, her unwavering resolve, her quiet resistance, her unspoken sorrow, her profound stillness. They begin to etch themselves onto your own heart, a slow, insistent pressure, a growing empathy that transcends mere observation, deepening into a genuine understanding, a profound connection, a bond that is forming without words, without conscious intent, without outward declaration, yet undeniably real, a powerful, unspoken truth, a silent love that blooms in the desolate landscape. You find yourself wanting to understand her, truly understand her, not just to paint her likeness, to capture her features on canvas, but to uncover the woman beneath the surface, to reach the depths of her soul, to see beyond the portrait, too. See her in her entirety, in her full, complex humanity, to know her completely, utterly, intimately, to truly connect on a spiritual level, to share her journey. You long for a connection beyond the canvas, a shared humanity, a moment of unburdened truth between you, a genuine exchange of hearts and minds, a true communion, a spiritual union that transcends the physical realm, transcending all societal boundaries, all rigid rules, all worldly constraints. The artistic challenge has shifted, becoming a deeply personal one, inextricably linked to your own growing feelings, to your own burgeoning heart, to a love that is taking root, quietly, powerfully, irrevocably, transforming your very being, your perception of the world, your understanding of art. One evening, as the light fades to a soft, melancholic gray, bleeding into the distant horizon, painting the sky with muted hues of rose and lavender, a palette of quiet sorrow and tender longing, the very air thick with the beauty of departure, of a day ending and a new, unknown night beginning, you sit before the unfinished portrait. It is almost complete, her likeness captured with a striking, almost haunting accuracy, a testament to your careful, painstaking observation, to your growing understanding, to your dedication, to your relentless pursuit of truth, of her essence, of her very soul. Yet something essential feels missing, an intangible essence that eludes your brush, a vital spark of life that refuses to be translated onto canvas, to be contained by oil and pigment, to be truly known, truly represented in its full depth, in its undeniable truth, in its vibrant spirit, its living essence, its inner fire, its hidden glow, its unspoken story. The precise shade of her hair, the arresting green of her eyes, as you imagine them, for they have not truly met yours with openness, with vulnerability, with a shared gaze, the delicate curve of her mouth, all are there, painstakingly rendered. Each detail a product of meticulous study, each stroke a conscious effort, but the spirit, the life, the her that you are beginning to sense, is absent, a profound void, a beautiful emptiness, a near reflection without soul, a shell devoid of inner light, a captivating but lifeless image, a hollow victory that mocks your efforts, a poignant reminder of your artistic shortcomings, a testament to your incomplete understanding. You stare at the canvas, a growing frustration tightening your chest, a knot of artistic despair, a feeling of professional inadequacy that gnaws at you, a bitter taste in your mouth, a sense of failure that chills you to the bone, a profound disappointment in your own capabilities, a heavy weight on your spirit, a crushing burden. You feel a profound failure, a sense of creative limitation that seeps into your very being, cold and sharp, an admission of defeat, a realization that your methods, however meticulous, have failed to capture the truth, to reveal the soul, to portray the life force you now glimpse, to capture the very essence of her being, her indomitable spirit, her profound humanity, her unique and precious soul. This portrait, so meticulously observed, so carefully executed, feels like a hollow shell, a beautiful but lifeless imitation, a shadow without substance, a mere echo of a person, not the person herself, not the woman you are coming to know, to love, to cherish, to adore, to understand, to be connected to hold in your heart. You know with a clarity that aches, a painful, undeniable truth, that it is not enough. You cannot present this as her, for it is merely an image devoid of soul, a beautiful lie that would condemn her to a marriage without her true self revealed, a marriage of a shadow to a stranger, a cruel and empty union, a life of silent suffering, a fate worse than solitude, a profound injustice you cannot bear to perpetrate, a moral crime that would haunt your days, a betrayal of your own integrity. This realization is a turning point, a silent revolution within you, a decision to risk everything for truth, for her, for the integrity of your art, for the sake of your own soul, for the very essence of what it means to be an artist, to be truly human, to live authentically, with conviction. The next morning, a soft, tentative knock at your studio door announces the inevitable. The Countess requests to see the portrait. Your heart pounds with a nervous rhythm against your ribs, a frantic drum against the silence, a prelude to judgment, to the unveiling of your imperfect truth, your incomplete understanding, your perceived failure, your deliberate act of sabotage, of conscious defiance, a moment of profound reckoning, a confrontation with destiny, a turning point. You present the canvas, its surface revealing her likeness, a striking resemblance that is undeniable, a technical triumph in terms of form, a testament to your skill, but not her truth, not the truth you are now beginning to glimpse and understand, the truth of her spirit, her hidden depths, her inner fire, her unspoken longings, her very soul, her authentic self. The Countess regards it with a critical eye, her gaze sharp, unblinking, scrutinizing every line, every shade, then turns to you, her expression unyielding, confirming your fears, seeing precisely what you feared she would see, the absence of soul, the lack of life, the profound emptiness, the missing spark, the vital essence, the absence of true emotion, of true spirit. It resembles her, yes, she says, her voice flat, devoid of warmth or enthusiasm, a pronouncement of disappointment, a cold, hard statement of fact, but it does not capture her. A wave of quiet relief, oddly mingled with shame, washes over. She sees it too. This hollow victory, this beautiful failure, this incomplete truth, this testament to your insufficient skill or understanding, to the limits of observation without connection, without genuine empathy, without a shared spirit, without love, without true knowing, without the soul's communion, without the essence of life itself. Heloise, you learn, also finds it wanting. Her previous silence, now more eloquently revealed as critique, as a profound disappointment that rings with quiet authority, with undeniable truth, a silent agreement with her mother's judgment, a shared artistic sensibility, a deeper understanding of the unspoken, a confirmation of their own deepest fears and convictions. The Countess, with a heavy sigh that speaks of deep weariness, of burdens too long carried, of a fate she cannot escape, then reveals the full depth of Heloise's profound resistance, a sorrowful history that casts a long dark shadow over the house, a shadow of despair and lost hope, of lives irrevocably altered by tragedy, by sacrifice, by the crushing weight of societal expectation, by an unforgiving world, by a cruel hand of fate, by a system that demands submission. Her previous attempts at marriage for her elder sister have failed, tragically, devastatingly. Her elder sister, the intended bride, having taken her own life rather than face the union, plunging from the very cliffs you now walk. A desperate, final act of freedom, a terrible sacrifice that haunts this place. A chilling reminder of the stakes, of the cost of a life unchosen, of a spirit broken by force, by unbearable pressure, by profound despair. The immense weight of this tragic history presses down on you, a cold, heavy hand on your heart, a burden shared and felt. And in that moment, you understand Heloise's silent rebellion more deeply than before, the profound, desperate meaning of her defiance, the ultimate price of lost liberty, of a life denied, of a spirit crushed by circumstance, by societal expectations, by a cruel destiny, by an inescapable fate, a silent scream against injustice, against oppression. The Countess, her voice now tinged with a raw desperation, her eyes pleading, their usual severity softened by vulnerability, by a flicker of hope, tells you that this marriage is crucial, a last, fragile hope for the family's survival, a necessity for their continued existence in a world that demands alliances, demands conformity, demands a daughter as a pawn, a sacrifice, a desperate transaction, a final heartbreaking gamble for salvation, for the family's future, for their very existence. She requests you attempt the portrait again, but this time, mercifully, with permission, with Heloise's active, willing participation, a genuine partnership that offers a glimmer of true connection, a chance for honesty, for shared purpose, for a love that can truly breathe, to capture her true self, not just her likeness, not just an empty shell, but the vibrant soul within, the essence of her being. A small flicker of hope, or perhaps just a deeper, more complex fear, ignites within you. A new challenge that feels both terrifying and exhilarating. A chance to truly connect, to truly see, to truly paint a soul, to fulfill your artistic promise. And her profound need to reveal her true essence, her inner light, her vibrant spirit, her very truth, to bring her to life on canvas, in all her radiant complexity, in all her glorious defiance, in all her breathtaking beauty. You stand before Heloise once more, but this time, the soft, diffused light of the studio falls gently upon her face, illuminating not just her features, but the fragile truth that now hovers between you. A shared understanding, a silent promise, a new beginning, a profound shift in your relationship, from observer to confidant, from stranger to beloved, from artist to fellow traveler, from captor to companion, from a forced connection to a chosen bond, a connection forged in shared vulnerability. The deception, a heavy burden you carried, is stripped away, leaving only a fragile, unadorned honesty, a quiet, vulnerable intimacy that fills the space, warm and real, a breath of fresh air after the stifling silence, a profound relief, a lightness of being, a liberation of spirit, a release from the weight of deceit. You look at her, truly look at her, for the first time without the veil of secrecy, without the need for clandestine observation, your gaze open and unburdened, searching, truly seeing, truly acknowledging her, recognizing her spirit, her very soul laid bare, a revelation, a profound unveiling, a mutual discovery, a moment of deep, unspoken recognition. Your eyes meet hers, those striking green eyes, holding yours with an unexpected, raw intensity, a silent challenge and a deep, profound invitation to connection, to a world previously hidden, now slowly unfolding before you, a universe in her. Gaze, a galaxy of emotion, a lifetime of unspoken dreams, of hidden depths, of untold stories, of untold potential. A strange, almost sacred stillness falls over the room, charged with unspoken emotions, with the weight of the past and the uncertain promise of the future, a palpable tension of anticipation, of what might blossom between you, of what might be, of a love that defies societal norms, that transcends all barriers, all expectations, all limitations, a love that begins to breathe, to truly live. You pick up your charcoal, your fingers now steady and sure, no longer hesitant, and begin to sketch, each line a deliberate exploration, a tender conversation between artist and subject, a mutual unveiling of souls, a dance of perception and revelation, a silent dialogue that transcends language, flowing from heart to hand, from spirit to canvas, from thought to form, a creation born of true connection, of profound empathy. You ask her questions, not about the portrait or the details of her features, but about herself, about her life, about her thoughts, her desires, her fears, her memories, seeking to know the woman, not just the image, to find the true Heloise. Beneath the layers of expectation, beneath the convent's silent walls, beneath the societal pressures, beneath the burdens of her station, her true, unvarnished self, her authentic voice, her unique spirit, her vibrant truth, her true identity. Slowly, hesitantly at first, her voice a low murmur, almost a whisper. Then with increasing confidence, she begins to open up, her voice low, almost musical, revealing glimpses of her inner world, her hidden depths, her rich inner landscape, a vibrant tapestry of experience, of sorrow and resilience, of a spirit yearning for freedom, for truth, for connection, for understanding, for a life lived fully, authentically. You learn of her time in the convent, of its quiet disciplines and hidden joys, of her profound love for music, a passion that resonates deeply with your own, and of her quiet, unspoken dreams, dreams that perhaps she had buried deep, believing them unattainable, impossible. But now, perhaps, they might find voice, might find form, might find expression through your art, through your shared understanding, through your mutual love, a silent hope unfolding, a future taking shape, a destiny chosen. Her words, her gentle cadences, begin to fill the space between you, replacing the uncomfortable silence of your previous guarded walks, weaving a new intricate tapestry of understanding, of shared humanity, a bond forming stitch by stitch, stronger with every shared word, every shared breath, every shared moment of understanding, every unspoken truth that passes between you like a secret, deepening the connection, forever binding your souls. Irrevocably dot as you work, days stretch into a quiet, almost sacred intimacy, a precious bubble of shared existence that feels separate from the world outside, a sanctuary, a haven where only the two of you truly exist, where time seems to slow, where the outside world recedes, forgotten, becoming a distant hum, a faint echo, a blurred memory. You begin a new rhythm, a shared dance of creation and revelation, of silence and subtle communication, of knowing glances and shared breath. Mornings filled with the soft scrape of charcoal on canvas, the gentle whisper of brushes applying oil, the subtle, almost imperceptible shift of her head as she poses, the unspoken language of shared glances and knowing smiles that pass between you. A secret code understood only by two, a silent, profound understanding that deepens with every passing moment, with every shared breath, with every stroke of the brush, creating a shared reality, a canvas of shared life, a masterpiece of mutual discovery. Afternoons are spent walking the wild, windswept cliffs, your conversations now deep and uninhibited, flowing freely between you, discussing books she cherished, poetry she admired, music she loved, philosophy that challenged your minds. The raw, natural beauty of the island, which now feels less desolate and more like a sanctuary, a shared haven, a place of peace, a witness to your growing bond, a silent confidant, a landscape imbued with your love, transformed by your presence. mirroring your inner world, a reflection of your souls, a sacred space. You talk of liberty, of what it means to be truly free in a world of constraints, of love in its many complex forms, both forbidden and celebrated, of the invisible chains and visible constraints placed upon women in this world. Discussions that resonate deeply with your own experiences, your own quiet rebellions, your own artistic freedom, your desire for a life unburdened by convention, by expectation, by society's strictures, by oppressive norms, by limiting definitions, by the very fabric of existence. Watches your hands, captivated, her gaze intense, almost mesmerized. As you mix paints on your palette, the vibrant colors blending under your knife, as you apply them to the canvas, transforming a flat surface into a living, breathing present. To transcend reality, to speak to the human condition, a nascent soul taking form before your eyes, a miracle of creation, a profound act of love, of shared artistry, of mutual revelation, a silent, powerful collaboration. Her presence fills the studio with a quiet, vibrant energy, a magnetic pull that you find yourself utterly unable to resist, a warmth that seeps into the cold stone, thawing something within you, opening your heart to a love you never anticipated, a love that grows with every shared stroke, with every shared moment of understanding, with every silent glance, a love that deepens and expands. The air between you becomes charged with a new understanding, a growing, undeniable connection that defies the artificial boundaries of artist and subject, blossoming into something far deeper, far more profound, an intimacy of souls, a love that grows in the silence, in the shared space of creation, in the very act of seeing and being seen, of truly knowing another, of truly being known, completely and utterly. You discover a shared wit, a subtle humor that sparks between you like flint striking stone, a silent understanding of the ridiculous and the profound, a shared language of laughter that lightens the heavy air, a joyous release, a bond of shared joy that brightens your days, making the time precious, imbuing it with meaning. The days become precious, each one a slow, deliberate unfolding of shared experience, a quiet, tender growth that you wish would never end. Each moment cherished as if it were the last, held tight in your memory, a treasure beyond measure, a profound gift, a blessing, a miracle. You find yourself anticipating her presence with a quiet joy, a flutter in your heart, the simple pleasure of her company, a profound gift, a treasure discovered, a solace found in her very being, a comfort, deeper than any you have known, a peace that settles deep within, a quiet ecstasy, a silent rapture. You notice the way her lips curl into a faint, knowing smile when you share a dry observation, the subtle tilt of her head when she is deep in thought, lost in contemplation, her mind clearly at work, searching for answers, seeking truth, revealing. Her intellectual beauty, her inner world, her vibrant spirit, her captivating soul, her luminous intelligence. These small details, previously observed in secret, now become shared intimacies, woven into the very fabric of your connection, a language understood only by the two of you, a secret world, a private universe, an unspoken symphony of two hearts, beating in unison, a love that transcends words, that speaks directly to the soul, a love that is pure and undeniable. One evening, while walking on the cliffs in the fading, ethereal light, the sea a vast, murmuring presence below, its dark surface reflecting the last sliver of twilight, painting the sky with muted hues of rose and lavender, a palette of quiet, sorrow and tender longing, the very air thick with the beauty of departure, of a day ending and a new unknown night beginning. You discuss the ancient Greek myth of Orpheus and Eurydice, a tale of love, loss, and profound, agonizing longing, its echoes reverberating in your own unspoken predicament, a mirror of your own impending farewell, a tragic resonance that chills you to the bone with its stark truth, its inescapable fate, its cruel irony. Heloise, with a keen insight that startles you with its depth, its unexpected resonance with your own thoughts, questions Orpheus's seemingly inexplicable decision to look back, to condemn Eurydice to the underworld again, to forfeit there. Longed for reunion, a choice that seems, on the surface, cruelly illogical, unloving, a profound betrayal of their bond, a senseless act of self-sabotage. Perhaps he chose the memory of her, she suggests, her voice thoughtful, profound, a whisper of understanding that chills you with its truth. The memory of her beauty, her love, their shared time, perfect and untouched by the imperfections of reality. A pristine image held forever in the mind, safe from the ravages of time and hardship, from change and decay. A perfect, unchanging truth, an enduring ideal, an immortal love, preserved in amber, rather than the reality of a diminished life together. A life where her full spirit might be lost to him, where she would be forever altered by the journey from the dead, by the touch of the living world after the shadows. A life of compromise, of lesser joy, of slow fading, a life that would never match the intensity of their love, a life that would inevitably fall short of the ideal, a pale imitation of their passion. Her words resonate deeply within you, touching upon the fleeting, precious nature of your own connection, the inevitable, painful reality of your impending parting, the choice between presence and memory, between a fleeting touch and an eternal image, a painful truth to confront, a decision that will define your future, a choice you too might face, a silent question posed to your heart, a heavy burden, a crushing dilemma. This philosophical exchange, so rich with unspoken meaning, with the echoes of your own forbidden desires, deepens the unspoken bond between you, a shared melancholy, an understanding that transcends words, reaching into the very core of your beings, a silent agreement of hearts, a bond forged in shared sorrow and intellectual communion, a profound connection that transcends mere circumstance, becoming a part of your very soul, your very being, forever intertwining your fates. You both sense, with a heavy certainty, the impending end of your time together, a quiet sorrow hanging in the air, thick and palpable, like the approaching dusk, a final, beautiful weight that settles upon your souls, a profound awareness of time's relentless march, of fleeting happiness, of an ending that draws near, inevitable and heartbreaking. A silence that screams of farewell dot as the portrait nears completion, each finished detail a step closer to an agonizing end, to the unraveling of your shared world. The weight of your impending separation becomes almost unbearable, a physical ache in your chest, a dull, persistent throb that echoes with every beat of your heart, a constant reminder of what is to come, of loss, of an emptiness that looms, a future without her, a desolate void that stretches before you. You find yourselves staying up late, long after the household has retired, the house quiet except for the crackle of the fire, its embers glowing softly, casting dancing shadows on the stone walls, painting fleeting shapes in the darkness. Ah, final, intimate canvas, a silent stage for your farewell, a backdrop to your last hours together, each moment precious, each second a treasure. You read to each other from shared books, lines of poetry and prose intertwining with your thoughts, with your breaths, soaking in every last precious moment, trying to commit it all to memory, to engrave it onto your soul, to hold it forever, a bulwark against forgetting, against the cruel hand of time, against the inevitable passage, against the fading of love, against the silence of absence. You play cards, her fingers brushing yours as you deal, a small, electric current passing between you, a silent acknowledgement of connection, a fleeting, tender contact that speaks volumes, a touch that lingers, a memory for your senses, a silent vow a promise whispered between fingers, a bond that transcends words. You share quiet meals in the silent dining room, the food almost an afterthought to the depth of your conversation, to the preciousness of your dwindling time, each mouthful heavy with unspoken farewells, each shared glance a silent promise, a silent understanding, a bond forged in quiet moments that mean everything, that define your love, that form the very essence of your connection. Each shared glance, each accidental touch, each moment of quiet understanding is charged with the unspoken knowledge that time is running out, that this fragile, beautiful world you've built together is destined to crumble, to dissolve into memory, leaving only echoes, faint but persistent, haunting your days, your dreams, your waking thoughts, a constant, beautiful ache, a lingering presence. You find yourself yearning to prolong these moments indefinitely, to halt the relentless march of the clock, to freeze time in this precious space, to cling to every second, to defy the inevitable, to wish for an impossible eternity, a timeless realm where your love could thrive, unburdened by the world, by its cruel realities, by its unyielding demands. She watches you paint, her gaze intense, almost desperate, as if trying to memorize every brushstroke, every subtle movement of your hand, fearing that the image might fade if she looks away, fearing your eventual absence, fearing forgetfulness, the cruel erasure of memory, of shared experience, of a love that defies societal norms, that dares to exist outside convention. You capture her in a new light, a knowing, almost mischievous smile on her lips, a glint in her eyes for the first time, fully open, fully vulnerable to your gaze, reflecting a shared understanding that needs no words, a profound, mutual recognition that speaks of love, of truth revealed, of a soul laid bare, of an intimacy beyond words, beyond all expectation, a bond of pure, unadulterated connection. This is not just a portrait. It is a testament to the quiet, profound love that has blossomed between you, an undeniable truth rendered in oil and pigment, a piece of your very soul poured onto the canvas, a silent confession, a vibrant, living declaration, a love made visible, made immortal, a masterpiece of the heart, a testament to your enduring connection to a love that defies time. The colors you choose are richer, more luminous, more alive, pulsating with light and life. The lines softer, imbued with the deep, complex emotion you feel, a silent language of your heart poured onto the surface, a love made manifest, a beauty, born of connection, a beauty that aches with the bittersweet knowledge of its fleeting nature, its ephemeral brilliance, its painful truth, its eternal resonance. The day of the Countess's return, the day of your inevitable departure, arrives with the cold clarity of a rising sun, its light harsh and unforgiving, stripping away the last vestiges of your shared dream, of your secluded world, of the haven you found, revealing the stark reality, the inevitable end, the cruel dawn of separation that breaks over the horizon, painting the world in stark, unforgiving lines, devoid of warmth. The portrait is finished, its beauty almost painful in its perfection, a breathtaking testament to your shared intimacy, to the love that grew in silence and observation, now laid bare for the world to see, a private world made public, a profound exposure of your heart, your deepest emotions, your unspoken truth, your vulnerable soul. It stands on the easel, a silent witness to your farewell, a frozen moment of your connection, a lingering echo of your time together, a beautiful, enduring presence, yet a symbol of loss, of what must be left behind, of a love that cannot openly exist, a love condemned to shadow, to secrecy, to memory alone. You stand before it, absorbing its truth, imprinting its details onto your soul, then turn to each other, the weight of the moment pressing down, suffocating, making it hard to breathe, making speech impossible, words failing in the face of such overwhelming emotion, such profound sorrow, such a tearing apart, a silent scream of agony. There are no grand declarations, no tearful goodbyes, no desperate pleas that would only make the parting harder, more agonizing, more impossible to bear. For no words could encompass the depth of your sorrow, the profound rupture, the silent heartbreak, the finality of the moment, the crushing weight of farewell. Your emotions are too raw, too profound for words, too deeply felt to be contained by language, by any earthly expression, too vast for sound, for anything but silence. A silence that speaks volumes, a silence that screams of farewell, a desolate emptiness that aches within you, a hollow void where joy once resided, now filled with an exquisite pain. You look into her eyes, memorizing every detail of her face, of her gaze, the exact shade of green, the faint lines of emotion around them, the flicker of unspoken farewell, the depth of her spirit, knowing with an absolute aching certainty that this will be your last moment together, this last uninterrupted vision of her, burned into your memory, a permanent imprint, a forever image, a constant presence that will never leave you, a love sealed by memory and longing, by a silent promise that transcends physical touch. You reach out, your hand trembling slightly, almost imperceptibly, and gently touch her cheek, your fingers lingering for a fleeting, eternal moment, feeling the warmth of her skin, the fragile beat of her pulse against your palm. A last, tender connection, a final farewell in touch, a silent promise to remember, a silent vow to carry her with you, always in your heart of hearts. She closes her eyes under your touch, a soft surrender, a final acceptance of the inevitable, a quiet farewell, a silent understanding that passes between your souls, a bond forged in silence and love, sealed by a tear, a shared sorrow, a silent acknowledgement of the pain. Then slowly, reluctantly, with a heart that feels as though it is tearing in two, a physical pain, a profound rupture, a silent scream, you turn and walk away, your steps heavy, each one a separation, a drawing apart, the silence echoing behind. You, growing ever wider, ever more profound, the image of her etched forever, indelibly, in your heart, a living, breathing painting in your soul, never to fade, never to be lost, always with you, a part of your very being, a love that transcends time and space, a love that defies all odds, all separation, all limitations, a love made immortal by its very loss, by its profound impact. You travel back to your life, a world that now feels foreign and strangely diminished, muted by the vibrant intensity of what you left behind, to the bustling city, to the demands of your painting commissions, a world full of noise and obligation that now seems hollow, colorless, lacking the light she brought, the vibrancy she infused into your life, the joy she ignited, the meaning she provided, the very essence of your existence. Time passes, a relentless, unfeeling march. Seasons change, each one bringing new light and new shadows, new work and new faces. But the memory of the island, of its wild, untamed beauty, and most profoundly of Heloise, remains a vibrant, living presence within you, a constant, quiet hum beneath the surface of your days, a secret garden in your mind, a hidden sanctuary, a place of solace where you can retreat, where her presence lives on, a private world of cherished memories, a timeless refuge, a constant source of inspiration. You continue to paint, driven by an almost desperate need to express the depth of what you experienced, to translate your inner world onto canvas. Your work subtly altered, deepened, transformed by the profound, transformative experience, bearing the indelible mark of her, of your shared love, of the beauty she awakened within you, of the truth she revealed, of the love that shaped your art and your soul, forever changing your artistic vision, forever guiding your hand. The colors you choose are richer, more nuanced, filled with a new intensity, a new understanding of light and shadow, of human emotion. The gazes in your portraits more intense, infused with a depth you did not possess before, a quiet reflection of her enduring presence within you, a silent tribute to her memory, to the love that shaped you and forever changed your art, that defines your artistic vision, that fuels your very creativity, a silent homage. Years later, a quiet, unremarkable day, perhaps a Tuesday afternoon, the air thick with the dust of centuries and the murmur of distant crowds, the hum of polite society, a familiar backdrop to your artistic life. You find yourself at an art exhibition, a public viewing of new works, a familiar routine, yet today it holds a hidden promise, a secret waiting to be unveiled, a whisper from the past, a silent call from a distant shore. The air is thick with polite conversation, a polite hum of appreciation, and the faint, familiar scent of oil paint and varnish, a comfort in its familiarity, a link to your past, to your artistic lineage, to countless hours spent at the easel, to your very identity as a painter, a silent connection that threads through your life. You wander through the crowded rooms, surrounded by the murmurs of polite conversation, your gaze sweeping over the various canvases, each one telling its own silent story, each a window into another artist's soul, another vision, another perspective, until your eye catches something familiar, something that stops you in your tracks, seizing your attention, pulling you into its orbit, drawing you closer with an irresistible force. And then you see it, a portrait. It is not of her, but it is a scene she would have appreciated, a quiet, contemplative landscape that speaks to her spirit, a testament to her influence on your artistic soul, a landscape that mirrors a quiet corner of your memory, a silent echo of her presence in the natural world, a place where her spirit still roams freely, unburdened by earthly constraints. And then, in another, more dimly lit room, tucked away from the main thoroughfare, almost hidden from casual view, perhaps meant only for certain eyes, perhaps meant only for yours, your breath catches a sudden sharp intake of air that feels like a physical blow, a shock to your system, stealing your words, stealing your very breath, your world narrowing to this single image, this profound revelation, this silent message, this unmistakable sign. You see a painting. It is Heloise, captured by another artist, a formal portrait, perhaps a commission for her marriage, presented for public viewing, for the world to witness, for countless eyes to gaze upon, oblivious to its hidden meaning, to the silent message it contains, a secret held within the brushstrokes, a profound truth, a hidden language. She stands stiffly, her hand clasping a book, outwardly composed, poised, as expected of a lady of her station, a model of decorum and societal expectation, perfectly rendered, a masterpiece of conventional art, but her gaze, no striking green. Eyes is direct, unwavering, piercing, looking out from the canvas with a familiar intensity, a silent challenge that only you can truly understand, a message meant for you alone, a private conversation across time, a profound acknowledgement, a silent communion of souls, a knowing glance that spans years. And you notice, with a sudden, aching recognition, it steals the air from your lungs, a profound, undeniable truth that reverberates through your very being, a tremor, a profound understanding, a shiver of shared memory. At her hand, the one, clasping the book, is subtly, discreetly opened, her fingers slightly parted, revealing her palm, a gesture so minute yet so utterly profound, a secret language only for you, a silent, enduring sign, a hidden symbol of devotion, a hidden message of unwavering love, a whispered promise across the years, a testament to a love that defies all odds. It is the gesture from the painting you made of Orpheus and Eurydice, the gesture you taught her, the secret sign you both shared, a private language etched into the canvas, a message for only one pair of eyes, a message meant only for you, a silent vow across time, a testament to an unbreakable bond, a love that defies all boundaries, all expectations, all societal norms, a love that cannot be confined, that lives in freedom. Your eyes fill with tears, hot and sudden, blurring your vision, a silent testament to the enduring, unbroken bond between you, a love that defies distance and time, that lives beyond separation, a love that speaks in hidden symbols, in quiet, acts of remembrance, in the language of the heart, a love that will never die, a love that is eternal, that resonates through the ages, a timeless, boundless affection. She remembered. She still remembers. The knowledge fills you with a bittersweet ache, a profound gratitude that she holds you in her memory, just as you hold her in mutual devotion across time and space. A love that has endured, a love that will never fade, a love that lives in art and memory, a love made immortal, a masterpiece of the soul, a timeless connection forged in silence and longing. Later still, another time, another place, the world has moved on, seasons turning, years passing, but your memories remain vivid, undimmed by the passage of time, a constant living presence within you, a sanctuary you carry everywhere, a portable solace, a hidden treasure, a guiding light that illuminates your days. You find yourself at a concert, a grand, echoing hall filled with expectant murmurs, the rustle of programs, the scent of perfume and polished wood, a symphony of anticipation before the performance begins, a familiar comfort, a return to the world of art and beauty, a promise of transcendence, a moment of shared humanity. The orchestra begins, and the music swells, a powerful, emotional piece that fills the grand hall, vibrating through the very floorboards, resonating in your chest, in every fiber of your being, a physical sensation that overwhelms you, that transports you, that connects you to something profound, to a deeper truth, to a forgotten feeling. You sit quietly, lost in the melody, letting the notes wash over you, pulling you into their intricate dance, their swirling emotions, becoming a part of the music itself, a silent communion with the sound, a journey back in time to a cherished memory, a sacred space, a moment of perfect happiness, a timeless echo. And then, through the jostling crowd, your gaze drifts upwards, drawn by an unseen force, an undeniable pull, a sense of recognition, a whisper from your memory, a silent call from the past, and you see her. Heloise. She is sitting in a box, high above, her profile silhouetted against the ambient light, a regal, solitary figure, distinguished even in her stillness, her beauty timeless, unmarred by time, perfectly preserved in your mind, in your heart, in your soul, an eternal image. She is alone, her gaze fixed on the orchestra, her expression rapt, lost in the overwhelming beauty of the sound, her entire being absorbed, transported, completely consumed by the music, by the shared memory it evokes, by the echoes of your past, of your love, of your life together, a silent, profound communion. As the music reaches its crescendo, a powerful, overwhelming wave of sound that threatens to consume everything, a torrent of raw, unbridled emotion, she closes her eyes, and a single tear, bright and unbidden, rolls down her cheek, catching the light for a fleeting moment, a silent testament to her depth of feeling, to a memory shared, to a love that endures, a tear that speaks volumes, a silent declaration of an unbroken bond. You watch her, unseen, unnoticed, amidst the crowd, a ghost in the vast hall, a silent observer, as the music washes over her, knowing, with an absolute, undeniable certainty that resonates deep in your soul, that she is hearing the very piece that you once played for her on the harpsichord, the piece that represented the passion that bloomed between you, the music that became your shared language, your secret symphony, your enduring love song, a silent pact, a profound confession that reverberates through time, a love that is timeless, that is eternal, that defies all physical separation. She feels it, she remembers. Her emotion is a mirror of your own, a silent communion across the vast, insurmountable distance that separates you, a telepathy of the heart, a love that transcends physical presence, it defies separation. That binds two souls forever, eternally, in an unbreakable bond. You remain, watching her, a quiet, profound ache in your chest, a love that time cannot diminish, a testament to an eternal connection, a bond that defies all boundaries, a love that finds its voice in the silence of memory, resonating through eternity, forever etched in the fabric of existence, a masterpiece of the heart, a love that will endure beyond all time, beyond all understanding, beyond all spoken words. The gentle hum of the night surrounds you now, the distant echo of the waves, the soft glow of a forgotten fire, the quiet melody that lingers in the heart, they all recede, pulling you gently towards the edge of sleep, a peaceful surrender. You are wrapped in the peaceful knowing that some connections, forged in quiet glances and unspoken understanding, transcend time and distance, living on as vibrant, eternal memories. Rest now, dear one, the world of silent longing and profound. Beauty will be here when you wake, waiting for you to dream it again. Good night,